Hello, this is the Heart Now Here Spurs Fans Podcast, a podcast for all you Spurs fans through and through, near and far, far and wide, whatever it may be. At the moment, we are Spurs fans that are very, very divided in many ways, whether it's been the manager, as we spoke on our last podcast, but there's bigger fish to fry, and we've done that. And we put this together on a Tuesday night. We're live on Tuesday. Myself and Matty, Kevin and TJ are unavailable, I'm afraid. But we've got a very, very special guest in Billy Cairns. And Billy, lovely to have you on, mate. Billy is someone who has been sort of at the forefront of the ENIC Out movement for quite some time. And we're going to talk about it quite at length because I think it's something that has been across social. It's been across punditry. It's even been our own vice captain talking about it now. So we thought it was the best time. Billy, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Lovely to have you on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mate, pleasure's all ours. But Matty, I'll start with you. Chelsea, I know you both were there, but Matt, when we did the podcast on Friday night, we're all a bit sort of, although it had been tough against Bournemouth and it has been tough in recent times, we were a bit buoyant about getting something. And I mean, after 10 minutes, it looked like life was brilliant, right? Then what happened?
Shortly, when you're in that stadium, mate, and it got announced that Ramiro and Van der Ven were starting, and it showed, mate, in that first 20 minutes before Ramiro went off, how good we can be when we've got our two centre-halves there, But look, was it worth the risk? I think Ramiro is a freak injury. It's not his current injury what he had, it's just a freak one. It's something different, so you have to take that, and I think Van der Ven just went off with a tight hamstring, so I think he's totally fine. He was always going to play 3/4 of the game, and then he was coming off. But you know what, Lee, Chelsea, I thought, would come flying out the blocks, but the game was always still open. Even before we went 1-0 or 2-0 up, the game was far too open, and this is something Ange has to kind of adapt to, doesn't he? Like, if we're 2-0 up, it's got to kind of get us through to half time, we go again, But I think we gave Chelsea too many opportunities, especially Sancho and Neto, in one-on-one situations via our fullbacks. And Sancho's goal come from that way, And, mate, I thought we played well. I thought Ange coached the win. I thought he went for the win. I thought he'd done enough to win the game. Just individual errors cost us on the day. Basuma just rash and Papasar just absolutely craziness, And they're in two vital moments of the game. Basuma's one. It was when they made it 2-2. We held that for an extra 5 minutes. No one knows how that game goes, And then Sonny missing that chance, man. Like, do you know what I mean?
Do you not feel Son could have passed it to Werner?
Yeah, but I think he was thinking Werner's going to be that Rose as well.
I know Werner isn't the greatest example of a finisher, but I think even Werner scores from there.
No, I think so. I was going nuts because I think Sonny should have just squared it to Werner to tap him. But that's things Ange can't. That's out of Ange's control.
I agree with you there. That's not on Ange. And also, them two individual errors, they're not on Ange.
No, that's it.
No.
I mean, the second penalty, Palmer was going nowhere. I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, what was Sarr doing?
Lack of experience, that is, Bill. That's just the lack of experience.
I mean, but I don't know why Basuma went charging in the way he did, but I find the second penalty more frustrating.
Oh, yeah. He's facing out, isn't he? Cole Palmer, he's away. He's facing the throw on.
If he had gone a few yards out, it's only a free kick if he touches him anyway.
You see Basuma. You see Basuma, though, he's come out and apologised and that, do you know what I mean? He totally gets it. He understands. He come across like he was quite devastated in his message, But at the time, you're like, what have you done? Do you know what I mean? He's become a bit of a liability, Basuma, since the Luton away game last season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was up to that game. He was playing really well. He started finding his form, and then the last few weeks he's gone again.
Yeah.
It's
tough though, isn't it? Because this is the thing. We've got a manager that wants us to go forward, and when it works like that opening part of the game, we look look brilliant, and we're making chances, we're scoring goals. We could have had 3 or 4. The game could have been dead and buried.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We've got to take those chances because of the style we play. You've always got to be 3-0 up before you can sort of like we were at City, before you can think, okay, yeah.
I weren't confident at City to the 4th goal winning.
I don't think any of us were, to be fair.
Me and my mates, I'm not going to lie, from the 70th minute onwards, we were going, at what point do we actually think we're going to win this game? We were that, and he said 75. Then we changed it to 80, and I went, "Now we need a 4th." They're not going to be confident.
So, have you found it then, Billy? Like, because we talked about the Chelsea game, and I think, we're doing this now 48 hours after the game. There's been so much talk about it. The pundits, as I say, they've talked about how Ange's play is, that we're always full throttle. It's all out attack, which in many ways was a breath of fresh air for us at first, especially when we were getting the results this time last year, top of the league. And then the cracks have started to come, and we're quite inconsistent. But when it works, it's beautiful. What do you, both the Chelsea game and further out from that, how do you find Ange and the style of play and the players that we've got playing it?
I like the style of play. He does need to be more pragmatic. I'm not Ange in, I'm not Ange out. I'm just bored of keep changing managers. But I think we need a deeper squad to play this football. And
100%.
in the summer, I don't care what anyone says. He signed off on the players. He didn't get the players he wanted. There's no way he wanted Bergville over Conor Gallagher. Every Spurs fan didn't want Conor Gallagher. What was the major difference between them 2 players? One, Conor Gallagher might not have come to Spurs. Wages.
I wanted Conor Gallagher. Gallagher.
You know what? I wasn't fussed either way. One of my best mates is a Chelsea fan, and he tells me he's one of the best players in their team. So I'm going to listen to him because he goes and watches him play every week. Now, particularly,
Captain,
I weren't particularly bothered if we got him or not, but my mate knows his football and he watches him, so I would have took him. He would have been better than what we've got. I think he would have been better than Bergville.
So that's where it comes down to what Billy said there, the depth. We have no depth. I look at our bench. It's like a nursery. Yeah, everyone's so young, isn't they? They're just tiny little kids. But the thing is, we can go and spend 40 million on Archie Gray, like with the potential to be really good. And that's fine. You can do the ad hoc signings here and there. We're meant to have a brilliant academy. So why do we need to go out and spend 100 million on young kids where we've got these kids already in our academy coming through potentially? When do these kids ever get given a chance?
Yeah, they don't get enough chances. I mean, Mikey Moore, he's the exception to the rule. Will Lancashire, I think he'll make it. There's a left back who should be definitely in the squad, considering we've got no defenders in Mason King. And I don't know, they don't seem to get a prolonged run out. But Archie Gray and Bergville, they get all these minutes, and then you hear things about they've got clauses in their contract that they've got to play so many minutes, or they can go for the same money we paid for them.
I didn't even know that. I didn't know that.
That'd be interesting if that is the case. But I get this is the thing.
I admit I don't know if that's 100% true. But I've heard it off a few people.
It's interesting, and I think this is the thing. We are at a point now where we do want youth through. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we covered under 18s, the under 21s on here. We've talked about Barnett, who's scoring goals for fun, but that's under 18s. He's got a long way to go, or at least another year before he can probably cut his teeth like a bit more in the squad. I know he's been in a couple of Europa squads, but all in all, as you say here, I think what's happened at the club is that we're now at a point where we've got this amazing stadium. It's used for everything, and football's almost the afterthought in there. We've got a really expensive season ticket, a really expensive match ticket. We're looking to get rid of concessions, discounts. We pay our chairman the highest in Europe, I think. We're 7th, I think, in wage bill in the Premier League. So we're not acting like a club that should be in a stadium like that. And this is why we've got Billy on, because Billy, since, 2006? 2000, will I be right? 2006, Billy? Will I be right in saying that?
Cafe half time when he sat Martin Yole.
I
already had reservations about him when he sacked Graham when he came in, and then I remember reading the thing from IAK Athens, was it, about you be careful, wish for. They got lucky. They've had a lot of all these other clubs, and I thought, I'm not going to lie, I thought, oh no, we just wanted a bit of sugar at the time. So,
but this is it. And now, since that time in 2006, and we're across all platforms now. We're on our normal Spotify, but we're live across YouTube and Instagram. And so many people are saying it. They're saying ENIC and Levy Out. And Billy's been on here and been very fundamental in that since 2006. Billy, what's been your story on it? Like, what's been the movement since that time? As you say, Getafe, which was disgusting with Martin Yole, someone that we all loved, up until now, especially when it's growing and growing.
Well, I just speak to friends about it for years, on and off, and there was no real movement. It was just, that was my personal opinion. I never liked them. I wanted them to go. And people always used to say, oh, you've got to give them a chance. I haven't been here long enough. And I'm thinking, well, then we got in Redknapp. After Joel, it was like a little bit, who came in after Joel? Oh, Ramos. Weren't it? Yeah, he wins a trophy. Then you go and sell his strike force. You go and sell Berbatov and Keane in the same window. Right, Berbatov forced the move, but he didn't invest again, did he?
Yeah, got Fraser Richardson. Fraser Campbell, sorry.
Fraser Campbell.
Yeah,
we got Fraser Campbell.
The
and then Redknapp wanted 2 players. He wanted Cahill and he wanted Tevez. He got Ryan Nelson and he got Louis Saha.
We were second in the league at that time.
And then from that, when we got Modric in, we wanted Modric. We wanted a replacement for Modric. 2 seconds or two minutes, a fax got failed. We didn't get Moutinho in, did we? No, the Rivaldo letter was under sugar. Then the real one that done me was when we should have bought Sadio Mane. Everyone says he would never have come to Tottenham. At that point, we was in the Champions League. Liverpool were playing in the Europa League. We had Son and Kane up front. When we had Son, Kane and Bale, they were awesome. Could you imagine 5 years of Son, Kane, Mane?
Oh, incredible. But then that's the thing, Billy. How did you then go, right, I've had enough, and start to get yourself involved in getting flags and stuff like that?
It was just, it just started one day. Someone said, and I knew a few of the people, I'm not going to mention their names, obviously. Someone said, anyone fancy chipping in, get a flag made? So we got the big 2 dairies to deer one, the one with the money and the flag made. So we made that. It was meant to be shared around a few of us. It wasn't my flag. It wasn't 100% my design. It was a few people who had come together with a few ideas. But I got lumbered with it because I was going to most games. So my face became a bit synonymous with the flag. But that wasn't fair on the other people because there was a lot of people. There was like 6 or 8 of us chipped in and bought it. But at the same time, I'd take it. I'd get it out of the grounds. And I remember I didn't get it out the first time. The first time we got it out was Jose's first game at West Ham.
Oh, wow.
Now, someone said, oh, you bring in Mourinho. And I went, Mourinho was brought in to paper over the cracks. He was never ever given the money. Levy brought him in because it was cheaper to bring in a manager than give Poch that painful rebuild. He thought Jose could work miracles with Poch's squad.
Yep.
And Poch had already identified all the flaws in it and told him what he wanted. Now, I don't know exactly what they all were because I don't work behind the scenes, but Joe, knowing Levy, he's probably done the accounts and thought, do you know what? It's cheaper to get rid of him, bring him in. He'll work wonders. He wins trophies everywhere he goes. And Bob's your uncle. Well, that went wrong.
Yeah. Well, we sacked him before the final.
Yeah.
And do you know how he sacked him?
No.
Do you actually remember how he sacked him?
I remember it was on the Monday.
It was on a Monday, the day the ESL got announced.
That's right.
Everyone was up in arms about the ESL. During that, a slow news day, all of a sudden Jose Mourinho gets sacked. No one picks up on it until it's too late.
Yeah. But what has been the reaction?
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jose was against it.
Yeah,
Jose was against it, yeah.
As are many. But I guess then when you look at it and you're saying there that he sort of put his eggs in the basket of getting the manager. It was cheaper, which is right, than them doing a rebuild with Pochettino. It kind of looked like that, as you said, you've mentioned Redknapp when he got Nelson and Saha. Before that, the players that we've had with other managers that never got what they wanted. Even when Glenn Hoddle came in, who was the messiah, he had to deal with all 35-year-olds, which are good players, Poyet, Sheringham, Ferdinand, but they ran out of steam when we got to March and after the cup final, when we lost to Blackburn. But when you've seen all that, Billy, and once that flag started to come out, what has the reaction been? Has it always been positive from the fan base? How have you been reacted to?
It was mixed. It was mixed. A lot of negativity come to me from it. I'd have people coming up to me in the ground when I'd get it out, moaning at me, calling me all the names under the sun. Water stuck back to me. I don't care. All I care about is Tottenham being successful. And
why was that though? Why was they giving you that? Sorry, mate, to cut you, but why were they giving you the stick?
Their answer was, we've just moved into a brand new stadium. We've got Jose Mourinho as a manager. And I went, well, come back to me in 5 years' time and see where we are. Because if he didn't back Poch after getting us to a Champions League final, what makes you think he's going to change now? He's never backed managers. Yeah. He's risk averse.
Yeah. And so now we're in 2024, end of 2024, 2025. That Chelsea game the other day, when you see different people, you know, whether it's to the flags out, has that, you know, have they started to come around to what you said 5 years ago?
I wish, but sadly not enough have. But it seems to be a lot of smoke on social media again now, and other groups are trying to come together and do something, and I hope they succeed.
Yeah.
Where we,
do you think then that this has been the most vocal it's been on social media since you did Today is Today? Has this been the most sort of hot it's been, or has there been hotter times for Levy Out?
I think more people are realising now. I've noticed bigger accounts. I mean, Ali Gold called him out, didn't he?
He did.
I mean, I didn't even realise, because I openly admit I was wrong. I dug out Last Word on Spurs for not ever debating it. And Lee McQueen replied to me and said, if you watch the show, we did have an in-depth debate. I've had enough of him. I want him to go. And I didn't think I'd ever hear that from people like on that show. So fair play to them. People are starting to see a difference.
And how do you think change happens? Do you think, you know, you've gone out there and you've taken the flag, and whether it's had stuff thrown at you in terms of you know, verbal assault and whatnot, you've been there and you've done it. Do you think change can happen with what's happening here? Because we all kind of we either want them to put their money where their mouth is, because they definitely can. We're in the best position if it came to financial fair play. We're massive in profit. We're third biggest sports club in the world in terms of value. Like, would you accept that, or do you think it needs a change, or do you wouldn't believe that they could change?
I think Daniel Levy's burnt his bridges with a lot of people. There's not many people like dealing with him, is there? I think he needs a fresh face. Even if he's a great businessman. I mean, he creates, but we ain't a football club anymore. We're an entertainment arena. I mean, he's created an entertainment arena out of our football club, and it's a cash cow. So I want him to go? Do I believe we can force him out? We can't force him out. We could just make life. I think we could make life awkward for him. Do you remember the game last year when his wife, when the Levy Out songs were going, and his wife had to console him, and everyone said, "Oh, look at him, he feels really awkward." Well, I felt like that for 20 odd years, so why should I feel sorry for him?
But this is the thing, you're right when you say that, Billy. And Matt, I'll come to you at this moment. Is you know, like Billy, like Kev, like TJ, you come far and wide. You got your season tickets. Like, you love going to it. I love going to it. Billy loves going to it. As you know, you were there the other night. You'd be there. Loads of going to Glasgow. Like,
I'm going to Glasgow Thursday morning.
There you go. And what I guess then I'll start with you, Matt, and then I'll come to Bill. But like, Matt, are you prepared to stop going in order to show some form of revolt, of go on strike almost? Like, because it's a big part of our life. It's a big part.
Yeah. Look, I think the way to ramp it up right now is social media is bigger than what it ever has been. And I think you just need to be more vocal on social media to get the word out there on all platforms, you know, and because obviously some people don't have like TikTok, for instance, but people have Facebook. So you have to get their videos far and wide to make people like with your opinion. But then as I've been going through the last couple of days, it isn't just my opinion. It's loads of other people's opinions. They're saying it exactly the same. And I think Jamie Carragher saying what he said on Sky Sports was massive because it highlighted it and it's gone out to everywhere. Next day, it was all over TalkSport, everything. So it's now out there, you know, and now we just need to ramp it up. We've got January transfer window coming up and it does need to heat up before this window because we need him to spend money in this window. Not with one player. We need at least two this window, and then in the summer we're going to need about another three. You know, and look, do I think I might be different to like Billy and maybe you, Lee? Am I Levy out? I think we're better with Levy than potentially without Levy on the business side of things. I think Levy needs to completely run the business but have no say in the football side of things. I think he has to completely remove himself. None of these silly little negotiations where he's trying to say...
Okay, like, Matt, can I just step in there? Apparently, didn't he bring in Munn and Lange, and also before them, Paratici, to do this one job, to run the football side of it, but he still can't help himself.
That's what I mean. So somewhere or another, this
is my reasoning why, and I'm sorry I shouldn't be jumping in. I will.
No, go on.
This is my reasoning why I think he has to go, because he's a megalomaniac and he can't help himself. He won't let anyone else. It's his empire. He wants to be. He's either going to be Julius Caesar or he's going to hit rock bottom. And he does want to hit heights, I'd imagine, but at the lowest cost possible to him.
But do you think, Billy, that he feels that you know, when you're at that high, like when you are Caesar, you know, the common man, us lot, can't catch you. You know, we can't. The apples that we're trying to throw at them, we can't get. Like, do you think he goes, I'm a success in every way by the way that this club is? They're in profit. They've got a stadium. It's world renowned. We're involved in elite competitions. You know, I actually feel that he is very oblivious to the fact, because he's so headstrong, as we know.
Yeah,
I think he's so oblivious to the fact that there are issues that he never sees it. He goes, there is no way that this doesn't work, and yeah, he obviously it comes at the lowest price, and I agree with that. But I think he doesn't even think about it. He goes, we are a great business and we are successful. A football club is not what he says. He said it at the right times, you know, at fans forums and things like that. He talks a game. He talks a good game. Talks a business game, but he didn't talk it as a football man. And I just feel like, You know, when you've got a vice captain, Christian Romero coming out, that's something big. Carragher was one thing. Your vice captain,
Yeah.
you're paying. This guy's paying him week in, week out. Gets paid by this guy, Daniel Levy. Romero gets paid by him. For him to come out and say something that, in some ways, you know, we only read it, we didn't hear it, but it sounds a bit like what Conte was saying in that last press conference. You know, he's saying similar things. With that said, do you think, Billy, then come Thursday night, there's going to be a vocal lot even in Glasgow that are starting to go, yeah, look, Carragher's saying it, the papers are saying it, our captain's saying it, our vice captain's saying it. We're all going to say it now. We've got to say something. It's got to be done.
I do hope so, because it'd be to a more global audience in Europe, won't it? Not just England.
No, that's it.
So if we can get the Levy Out chance going on Thursday night, that'd be massive. Especially in a European game. But the trouble is, you still want to get behind the team in a European away game. And Ibrox is... I've been to Ibrox, but only for a pre-season friendly. And I remember walking out of there, and I thought, I'd love to come back here on a Thursday night or Wednesday night to a European game. It reaps of history. So I think, I don't know unless we're losing, and that's what you don't want to be doing. As much as I dislike Levy, I don't want us to lose a game. Yeah, that's a lie. I only wanted us to ever lose one game, Man City last year.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you. So when I started going properly all the time in the 2000-2001 season. It was that season that Sugar sold the club at Christmas to ENIC and Daniel Levy, obviously getting involved as chairman. And there was a cup game against Birmingham City when we went 3-0 down at half time. Birmingham were in the first division at the time, and it was as toxic as ever. And the whole crowd turned on Sugar. It'd been happening for a long time, but it was new to me. But the crowd, you know, the team's 3-0 down, they're out the cup, and that at that time the League Cup was everything to us. We sold Ginola, so Graham had it. You know, there was stick on Graham. There was no one really brought in, no money, stick on Sugar, and it felt like that was the moment. I think he said it because we had a North London derby just before Christmas in 2000. And they interviewed Sugar after, because he said he's selling the club, and he went, I'm not having this, what I've had from the crowd. You know, he played the pity story, but what had happened is 35,000 had given the stick to the point where it was like, well, look, he had nowhere to go. And at this point now in 2024, I just wonder if that can happen, because I just feel the club has changed.
Do you think some of them 35,000 fans from 2001 are still going, but they're now 23 years older and they haven't got the fight left, and the new fans that have come in have been brought up on Champions League football, and we've been brainwashed with that success? It's not success getting to the Champions League.
No,
I'd finish 17th and win that League Cup. Someone of... I'm not going to disrespect someone of the age of 20. They're going to turn around and say to me, I want to be in the Champions League. But what's that going to get you? You go in that... I don't care. West Ham won that Europa Conference. You win that League Cup. You go into that Conference League. You look at the teams in there. Chelsea are playing now. We could win that. Could you imagine winning 2 trophies in 2 years? Then that takes you into the Europa League, which, if you're building the team, you could potentially go on, win the Europa League, which would then get you into the Champions League anyway.
Yeah. That's the point.
Sorry, Lee. Go back 23 years. It's a completely different fan base in there now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And also,
let's be real, there's a lot of fans in that stadium now that are still there an hour after kickoff, still wanting photos, you know? So it's a completely different fan base. Even if after 23rd minute, everyone was like, right, we're protesting, everyone's going to get up on the 23rd minute, for sake, and we're going to leave, that stadium will still be 3/4 full.
It will be, because people... when we lose, what do you do? Do you stay behind for a bit? I don't drink personally, but I'm out of that stadium. I'm out of that stadium. Sometimes. I don't want to talk to anyone. I've got the
intentions sometimes meeting my pals after for a beer, and I've stormed out of that stadium, not even answering my phone. I'm going home.
And I don't want to talk to no one. And then I go on social media and I see I've got no issue with with James Black. He sits there, he gets paid, but then you've got the fans singing the songs and all that. You've just lost to Chelsea, and you're in the concourse singing and drinking. You should be kicking up. You should be fuming. You shouldn't be happy. You've just lost a London derby to one of your biggest rivals.
Yeah, but this is the thing, and I'm just going to go through some comments. Sorry, guys. I've got people in Instagram. It's popping up. We got Martin Hart. He said, "If Andrew's sacked, we will be a mid-table team for 5 years minimum. Andrew's the man. Levy out." We've got Jack Durban there. He said, "Big up, Billy. Proper yid." We've had other people just saying, "Look, Levy out. Daniel Levy, get out of our club," is what Weeksy says. Hussein Sally's joined. Jason Mara. We Are Tottenham TV are in today. Max the Taxi. They're all saying the same thing, which is Levy out. And this is the thing. The hardest bit for me, and that's why it's been great to have you on, Billy, because like you say, I just don't see, and Matt said it as well, but I just don't see people leaving the ground. I don't see people going, I don't want to go anymore. And I think that as horrible as it is, we have to do that. But
the thing you said about the people not going anymore, the ticket exchange.
Yeah.
People could a lot of people just put their ticket on the exchange. People couldn't sell their tickets on Sunday for Tottenham Chelsea. They used to be unheard of. It was hard to get a ticket for that game.
I was offered. I didn't. I turned it down because I've got to a point now. And again, I'm not a season ticket like you guys, and I love it. I can't tell you how much I've really fell in love with the match day experience under Ange Postecoglou. I think it's amazing. I've that first sort of 3-4 months last year were as good as I've had, and I think we was all on the crest of a wave because at least he was playing the football we want. It's not gone as well, but I still back the man. I still think, like you say, it's that we're short on a squad to play that style of football, which they gave him the job. They knew what he was like. He would never have said anything different in a job interview. But the thing that has happened now, because it's got so inconsistent, I don't want to stay away because I don't want to back Ange and the players. I don't want to fuel Daniel Levy's next move, which is, okay, it didn't work with Ange, we'll pay him off, and then we'll get in Graham Potter and we'll pay 15 million for them. But 15 million is nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's a manager. Then they'll go, right, we'll go and find somebody on loan that might have an option to buy for 20 million in 2 seasons' time. It'll be all like, and you might find a gem. We found a gem in Kulusevski, which is amazing, right? But then it will all be like them deals, like we're saying, megalomaniac Levy sort of trying to do things on the 31st of January when you're already out the cup. Like, it's one of those scenarios where I just don't know, unless we all stayed away. And I hate saying that to fans like yourselves who have been there the whole time.
The thing is, they've brought in a new condition this year. You have to have our seats filled by, I think, is it 15 games, Matt, or 14? Have you read
What's that for, mate?
Say, for instance, we want to boycott the games. So I always said I prefer away days. I could easily not go to a home game all season. But what Daniel Levy now doing is he's giving out loyalty points like confetti to get you in the ground for silly cup games. So I'm okay. I'm in a higher bracket. So people are buying their tickets for these games to fill the stadium to keep their loyalty points up because they don't want to fall behind with certain people. And here's an instance: Manchester City in the in the League Cup. How many loyalty points do you think you get for that? 5.
Did we get 5? We got 5, didn't we?
Manchester City away in the league. No train zone, bearing in mind, because it was a 5:30 kickoff. 1 loyalty point.
Yeah.
Oh. This is the thing, and this is what I'm saying. So they're always putting a carrot out, whether it's 1 point, 5 points, 10 points, 20. They're still doing it, and they know because the love for the club never leaves. You know what I mean? That's
No.
the heart and soul for so many. Do you know what I mean? It's what we've grown up with. But now they've almost sort of grabbed us by the balls by doing things like this, loyalty points, knowing that if you go, you'll fall behind, and someone maybe with even more money will come in, take your place, and that'll be it. And that's heartbreaking, because
Do you know what
we
it is?
are grabbed by the balls. You're grabbed by the balls.
100%. Go on,
sorry.
go on, Bill. Go on.
You
go.
go. Sorry, I'll wait.
That's got to like that. All our season ticket holders, you have got that. Because if you give up your season ticket, within seconds, it's gone. Yeah. So there's going to be another fan sitting in your seat. So it is what it is. The only way, I think TJ's mentioned it a couple of times on there, is season tickets. Don't put their tickets on exchange. When the game is on Sky Sports or something like that, then everyone just protests and walks out the stadium and leaves all the empty seats live on Sky Sports, and it'll bring up a massive uproar.
See,
but people
that one
prepared.
would work. That one would work because you've scanned in.
Yeah, but people are not prepared to lose 81 quid for the ticket they've just paid for that game.
No, they're not.
No one wants to lose 81 quid for that.
Not a lot of people, but some people can't afford it. But if you want your club back, you might have to do that for a few games.
Yeah, I agree.
This is what I'm saying. Not to give them credit down the road, but January of 2018, I think it was Arsenal Man City, and that stadium was half full when protesting for Wenger out, or the board as well. They didn't like what was going on. They didn't turn up to probably the biggest game. It was on Sky Sports, and it was all red seats. And the embarrassing bit was they called it a sellout. Do you remember? Because they call it how many seats?
Arsenal always done it on ticket sales, didn't they? But even if Tottenham could do, maybe they did scan in and scan out. They might have had that thing, but Arsenal brought that in as well. If you don't attend so many games, they can take your season ticket off you. Now, my thing is, I don't spend a penny in that stadium. Now, if I give my season ticket up, the person I give my season ticket to, who will snap my season ticket up, like Matt said, instantly, they could go and spend £1,000 in that club shop every week.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's an unrealistic
I know
figure,
what you mean,
but they're going to buy a beer at the bar. They might go and spend £20 in the club shop. An extra £50-100, right? So if all the season ticket holders do that, who give up their tickets, who've been going for years, he's earning a lot more money. And also, one thing I noticed this year, people on the waiting list, they didn't offer them season tickets out. They're now selling them for more money per game.
It's a joke. But this is the thing, and I'm just going to put up some more comments. We got Orrin Campbell, a good friend of mine, said Levy and ENIC have run out of excuses, which we clearly know. Titan Ven on Instagram says, can't miss more than 4 games a season and not attempt to fill your seat. I love it too much to not go, which is, I get it. I get it. This is everything to us, and especially
I'm not I get told off for that. I love football too much. I've been going since about 85, 86. Been a Spurs fan since 1977, 76, 77. Weren't allowed to go to Tottenham till I was a teenager. My mum wouldn't let me go. So I live in West London. So I used to go to football grounds around here with my mates. But I always remember that first day I walked into White Hart Lane. It was like, finally, I'm home. It's part of me. And people ask me to give it up because I don't like the ownership. Why? Why should I give up my passion?
So this is the thing, go on, Matt.
Sorry, Bill, here's one thing. When you get your flags out, like the Levy Out flags and that, do the stewards ever take them off you, or?
They've tried to, but I'm quite quick at putting them away. And once they're away, they're not allowed to. They're not allowed. If I get them back in my bag quick enough, I've been stopped taking them into the ground before, and I've had to put them by and then collect them later. I mean, I had Opombo, a Richarlison flag. I was going into Leicester, and the steward wouldn't let me in, and I'm going, it's the pigeon in Portuguese. And it's like, no, you're not going in with it. They had to get someone to come and translate it before they'd let me in with the flag.
But this
Now
is the thing, like, sorry, like, but go back to sort of what we can do, and this is a big ask. You know, if there's talk of the 23rd of December, 22nd of December, which is Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah.
Liverpool at home, of there being a form of a protest. Now, I don't know if that's going to form into something that is outside of the ground. I don't know if that's going to be something there where people leave the ground after going in. As fans feeling, could it make a move? Is that something you'd be prepared to do?
I have no input in this whatsoever, but if I see something I like and they say do this, I'm gonna go. I'll be at the game anyway. And if they say we're all gonna walk out on so and so minute, and I see people walking out, I'll get up and walk out. Or if it's a delayed, if I'm at the turnstile on the way in, and I see people holding back for 5-10 minutes, leaving the ground empty on the way in, I'll hold back with them. I won't go in. But I don't know what their plans are. I have no. I've done my bit. This is 2 new groups coming together, and I hope they succeed.
Do you know what, Lee?
Who are those groups? Sorry, Matt.
I'm not 100% sure, but I know Change for Tottenham are one of them, because basically it's all over Twitter. JAAOK, he's another one who's on Twitter. Apparently he's a very sound bloke. I don't know any of them personally, so I can't. I mean, I talk to them like on Twitter, ask them what they're doing, and that's about it. And I just wish them all the best.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt. You go on, mate. You were saying something there.
So in that week, we've got Man United on the Thursday, haven't we? And we, like us as fans, we want that cup. So there's no point doing nothing silly on that cup game. Yeah, the league.
No way.
The league's kind of gone. Like where we're going to finish in the league, no one knows. And it's Liverpool, and there's a lot of eyes on that game with Liverpool, and like support all around the world for Liverpool watching that game. I do think something needs to happen on that day, because there'll be a lot of eyes on that game.
Well, this is what we've got a question here from Orin said, and this is for Billy. He said, what is the rallying cry for like-minded Spurs fans who want change at board level? What needs to grow in the movement from hardcore to casual fans? We might have lost Billy a bit there, but Matt, I guess, and I'll pose it to you first off. What do you think? How does it go from? How do movements like this start? Because we're not used to that. You know, I don't think it's something that can just permeate in the crowd. But like, do you think there just needs to be more on the high road? Because the beautiful thing about the high road now is that it's all locked off, so people can walk and on the street and everything like that. Is it banners? Is it leaflets? Is it a form of, you know? Is it a group of 1,000 people that have come together through Twitter, one with a megaphone like they do in Germany, that's screaming down the street and making it newsworthy? Because, you know, Sky, there's always a camera. There's always social media. If that blows up.
Do you remember Chelsea when they protested about the Super League and they wouldn't even let players into the stadium? Do you remember that day? And
brilliant.
So I think down Tottenham High Road, I think it will have to start outside. But do you know what, though, Lee? It's how many people are going to get involved, or how many people are going to stand across the road what's filming it on their phone, but not actually get involved. Yeah, because that's what it's kind of is now, isn't it? And
yeah,
I don't know. Do you know what? It just depends. Now TikTok is high. Not TikTok. Social media is high. You have to ramp it up and get it far and wide out there. And anyone that is going, whatever the protest is, I'm not really know what's going on the 22nd. I've heard that there's going to be something, but no one's really come out and said what's happening, have they? But mate, going back to your answer, I ain't got a fucking clue.
This is the thing, like, because it can work different ways. We've got Hussein Sally on the Instagram. Instagram is popping off. We've got so many people watching us live. We are obviously on our podcast in our normal streaming form, but we do live as well. But Hussein Sally says, so are we wanting ENIC and Levy out for the pure fact that we're bringing in the wrong caliber of players and not getting managers' intended targets, and we're getting second or third choice? What do you think?
I've said this I think Spurs are better with Levy than without Levy, haven't I? So I said I think Levy needs to completely step away from the football side of matters and just run the business side, the NFL side, whatever he needs to do. But football have no involvement because he hasn't got a clue what goes on that pitch. And I can't go through another rebuild. I don't want another manager. I don't want to hear, all right, we go again, 3 more years rebuild. We stick by Ange and we give Ange the tools he needs. We showed it. Like there's moments last season. We've gone to Man City, we've gone to Villa Park, we've gone to Old Trafford, and absolutely battered teams like this with our players. But he just needs more depth. He needs depth. He can't carry on doing this with like little 18-year-olds on the bench. He can't play that way.
He can't, no, and that's the point we are at now. So then going into the next set of games, we've got Rangers away, which is obviously Ange knows all about Rangers away. He's won titles against that team. It's a big game for him. They are going to be right up for it now that they know he's under a bit of pressure. We've then got Southampton in the league. How do you see these next 2 games going, Matt?
Dr. Tottenham. Dr. Tottenham, mate. The Rangers. Mate, I think we'll beat Rangers, if I'm honest. They'll make it hostile for us, but I think we'll beat them. Southampton worries me because our form against these lower league clubs it scares me. It scares me. But the way Southampton play, we should go and punish them. But do you know what, Lee? I can't even answer your question, mate, because I'm scared to even throw a result out there and then people come at me and say, you told me we'd do this. I'm scared to even answer it, mate.
Billy, what are you thinking? Rangers and Southampton. How are we going to do?
So Rangers, come on. It's a pub league. We should be beating them, shouldn't we?
We should.
This is no disrespect to Scottish football, but it is pub football. And I'm sorry about earlier. My phone kept ringing and I kept getting kicked out.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. We've got you back. That's good. But then what about Southampton then? They come out and play. They're going to come out and play. They're going to fancy themselves against us. High line. They like to play football. They could get in behind us. Do you still think we've got enough to beat them at their place?
If we put in a performance, it depends what team we field on Thursday night, sorry, really. I mean, and how much energy they use. I mean,
yeah,
because we predominantly ain't great away in Europe for one, but I still believe we will beat Rangers. But it's our fall in the games following European football. We don't win a lot of them either.
It's fun times.
Historically, we lose away in Europe and then we lose the following game in Europe.
Yeah. It's a crazy time, and I think that's it. To be fair, we've sort of covered the ground that is really getting to me. I've talked about it to a lot of people in the last 3 or 4 days, even before the Chelsea game. I'm really behind Ange. I really like his style. I don't want to keep changing for the sake of changing, because I think, if anything, and it's Orrin Campbell that was saying this, it almost gives Levy that sort of bounce back ability, because if your new manager comes in, you get the bounce back of a manager. Everyone gets excited again. Everyone spends that little bit more. I remember when Conte left and we had that Stellini in, people were throwing tickets at me for nothing. They said, do you want to go Bournemouth at home? Do you want to go? Because we was out of everything. There was nothing. Ange come in, there was a couple of wins. Before we knew it, you can't touch a ticket. Went on ticket exchange, you couldn't get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now the other day, Chelsea, like Billy was saying, people, how many tickets were going in our chat, Matt? There was enough.
No, there was thousands of tickets for Chelsea. Yeah, not even on the exchange, there was loads.
And that's the thing. So with all that said, I'm just like, I don't want to change it, and I don't trust in this chairman to not change it. I also think that if there is, the fact that we love this club, so much, and as you've seen tonight with you, great supporters, go home and away, on his way to Glasgow. With that in mind, what I really want is an understanding from our board of who we are and treat us with respect. I don't know if we'll get that, but that's the only thing that annoys me, because I've been to the fan forums when he says certain things, he says the right things, he does it in a business way, so he doesn't sort of lie, but he sort of gives you an inkling of like, oh, good things to come, but he doesn't really act on it. I just want him to respect us. And yeah,
sorry, Lee. The forum, didn't Levy say we've got our Tottenham back in the forum?
Straight away, yeah, he did. The last season's one, yeah. He did, yeah. Of course he did. And that was after we got the 2-1 win against Sheffield United. We were going to Arsenal 5 days later. The thing with me is that I don't want people to be charged. I don't want £81 tickets for games. I don't want concessions to not have discounts. I don't want it to feel like we are just a number and therefore, you know, if I don't go, a day tripper, somebody from overseas will come and just happily take my ticket and spend £200 in the stadium, in the shop. I don't want to feel like when I go to the stadium, I see an F1 sign, I see an NFL sign, and then I see the Spurs sign, all with equal fitting, all with equal weighting. I don't want to see that. I want them to.
You better get yourself down Aaron Gay Borough then, Lee.
Well, that's what I do. That's what I do, mate. And it's a free season ticket and all. I'm at Aaron Gay Borough all the time because, like, to me, it's the I have to just get to the point where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel there's a lack of respect. I feel like there's a lack.
I agree. I agree.
And I think that at the end of the day, I can never knock what this guy has done as a businessman. That I don't think anyone would. But the fact of the matter is that you've got to look at yourself and go, right, you know, we had this manager that took us to close to the promised land, as close as a modern Tottenham team has been. And what did he do? He sacked him within 3 months because he didn't want to back him up, and Poch spoke out in the media. And then he did it again when Conte was there. You know, I think that was already sort of, that relationship was over. Jose, again, it was a little bit. Ange hasn't come out and said anything bad. I think I've heard, you know, he's in for the long run. They've not thought about anything about changing him. But it's just, yeah, I think I'm not prepared to go through the cycle again. As a Tottenham fan, Lee, I struggle. Yeah.
What do you reckon of Ramiro's comments? See, I think current players and ex-players, this is the time to now come out and say something, yeah?
Massively.
Because Ramiro knows, like, he's a bit of a fan's favourite. Everyone loves him. And if Levy throws the book at him, the fans are going to be on Ramiro's side.
Mm. But also, what he knows,
wise here.
He's very wise. But also, you know, I'm not going to say that he's doing it with a double intention, but he knows that he can go and walk into a big club, right? We could sell him, and he could either leave the club and go, it's not my fault, or he can do what he's done here. And I think this is his character. You see it on the pitch. Well, how you see someone on the pitch is probably how they are in real life. He's bullish. He's aggressive. He's going to do what he thinks. He's going to be rash. This isn't a rash comment, but I think that he's saying what he thinks. And in doing so, I think that is it. I think that I think it could go two ways for him. He's either going to accelerate his departure, or, you know, he's going to be listened to. My problem is, I don't know if enough ex-players will listen, because a lot of the ex-players are on the payroll. And, you know, a lot of ex-players, unless you was in football in the last 25 years, you know, even, you know, Gary Mabbott, someone like that, they, you know, this probably helps them live. Do you know what I mean? Like, today, players' wages are through the roof. So they, you know, it doesn't hit them as much. But, you know, players from the 80s and 70s and things like that come on at halftime or are in the suites, you know, introducing themselves to people that pay for boxes. This is their livelihood. So I can't see him saying stuff. It's by the balls. I'm not saying that Spurs and the chairman do everything wrong, but they don't do enough right now for us to succeed. So they either have to come out and be totally honest about what this club's about, or, you know, or give it over to somebody else.
I definitely think the next 3 transfer windows can't be mediocre. They need to be 3 good, solid windows. Yeah, they have to be. Like, I don't think there is any room for, like, Lee, we finished 5th. We bring in Solanke to improve our 11. Love Solanke.
Yep. Can't knock that. I love him.
Then we spend 100 million on youngsters. We're finishing 5th. We want to push on. So I get where Ramiro's coming from. I've literally word for word, I was like, I agree 100% with what he's saying.
And that's why in the end he'll go. If you don't help him, he'll go. Like, the ball will be in his court within a year.
Listen, if he gets frozen out, Lee, you know the fans are going to turn.
He won't get frozen out, but they won't get frozen out. But he'll either go, right, I've got a year left on my contract, and I'll just leave, and he won't take the flak, because he'll come out and say again what he thinks, and the chairman will get it, or the chairman will sell him because he'll be like, right, yeah, the relationship's untenable, and that's it. But this is the thing. What's been good about this, and I'll just, Billy's had a bit of problems with the connections, but we got you back here, Bill. I think that's all right. But I think just to sort of finish up on this week's podcast, I think it's fair to say that there still needs to be a fair bit of work for us to make change. I think what Billy's done and what you're saying some of these other groups are doing is fantastic, but it's a movement that's got to grow. And sadly, I don't want it to grow at the expense of the players and the manager and things that don't go right for them. But who knows?
I'll give you an instance. I was walking out of Bournemouth the other day.
Yeah.
A little bit early. I'd had enough. I knew we weren't going to score. Some geezer was shouting his mouth off at Ange, calling him all the names under the sun. He looked at me. He knew who I was. I didn't know he was from Adam. He went in, and people like you, it's not effing Levy's fault. This is on Ange. All I replied to him was, who employed him? I didn't. Yeah. You didn't. Didn't he do his due diligence and know the football he played? Hence what I was on about earlier on. He knows he plays this football. He should have a bigger squad and a lot more depth to be able to bring off the bench to keep these players fresh.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. I think that's exactly it. We could go round in circles all day, guys, like bloody Levy has with our managers. But it's been a great and really insightful conversation. Billy, thanks so much for coming on, mate. We'd love to have you on again.
Connection issues at the end.
Oh, that's all right, mate. I'm sure we'll have you back on in the coming months because I feel like this is going to be a bit of a drawn out process. But I think at some point it has to come. Matty, always a legend, mate. I hope you don't feel too sick and you can give me a result for Man United and Liverpool next week after seeing us win 2 games on Thursday and Sunday. But no, thanks for everyone. We've had a really, really strong live presence tonight across the live streams. Don't forget, we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Please give us a rating and a like. Every rating that you give us or any sort of feedback you give us, it really helps us in terms of getting out there to more Spurs fans. We're really sort of ingrained set of Spurs supporters, and we're a bit different to maybe what you see in some other podcasts. We love all the other different podcasts. I think that's what's so beautiful about Spurs fans, different interpretations and opinions, but we like to get to the ground and talking to great people like Billy. But until next week, let's hope we win in Europe. Let's hope we win at Southampton. We've got to keep going forward. Let's stick with Ange. We don't want to keep changing. I know there's a bit of a back and forth between us as a fan base, but let's try and stay together because we know when it works, it works. This has been the Hot Now Here Spurs Fans podcast. We'll see you next week. Come on, you Spurs.
Thanks for having me on.